Thank you, Lord Mayor, and good afternoon, everyone. For those who don't know me, my name is Mark Nodder, and I'm President of the Northern Ireland Chamber of Commerce. Welcome to you all to our annual lunch. And it is great to be back here in City Hall. We're very grateful to the Mayor and to the City Council for allowing us to be here for this event, and once again to showcase this wonderful building. Before I go any further, it's my duty to explain the evacuation procedures in the event of an emergency. I was going to say that if you see the man wearing the big shiny chain leave quickly to the side doors, it would be advisable to follow him, but he's actually just gone. So this is not a fire evacuation. But if you do hear the alarm, please leave the building immediately. Follow the directions of the security staff. The fire routes are highlighted by the exit and emergency signs. Don't use the lifts. Proceed to the assembly point at the east front lawns of City Hall, where strawberries and Pimm's will be served. The annual lunch is a relaxed occasion. And for us, it's almost like an end-of-term celebration. It's come straight after our AGM, and we've had a great year. The Chamber celebrated 230 years in business, with the first major business banquet to be held in Titanic Belfast. And since then, we've organized over 60 events and seminars, enabling members to connect, to learn, to grow, and grow their businesses locally and internationally. We've enjoyed great access to government, both through the local executive and more recently meetings with the Prime Minister, with Lord Green, with Danny Alexander and Vince Cable, covering all sorts of subjects: export, small businesses, tax devolution, and so forth. We've strengthened our international links through the World Chamber Federation and the Foreign and Commonwealth Office in order to support our export initiatives. And during that time, our membership has grown now to 1,200 companies. We cover all sizes and sectors of business, and collectively, we employ 100,000 people in Northern Ireland. In doing so, the Chamber has won 2 Chartered Institute of Marketing awards this year, both for Ireland and the UK, for the success of our sales and promotional campaigns. And if that wasn't enough, we've been recognized as the British Chamber of the Year. So I think before I go any further, many congratulations to Anne, our Chief Executive, and her excellent team. Well done. So what's next for the Chamber of Commerce? Well, in the last few years, we've joined other business organizations in campaigning for the reduction in the rate of corporation tax in Northern Ireland. And we are still wholeheartedly committed to that objective. However, the natives north of Hadrian's Wall have become a little bit restless, and a decision about corporation tax, as well as the timetable for its implementation, waits on the other side now of the referendum for Scottish independence. Question: can we afford to wait until after the dust settles in Scotland before tackling the short and medium-term challenges of our own economy? Are we just going to sit on the sidelines and watch Alex Salmond and David Cameron slug it out, hoping for the best and trusting that there'll still be time afterwards to sort out corporation tax before the next general election? I think not. The economic backdrop to the lunch today is one of encouragement in global markets. But in the UK and in other mature economies, we continue to struggle with public debt reduction, rebuilding the financial sector, the loss of demand, rising unemployment, and, I think most harmful of all, damage to business confidence. And that's what I really want to talk about now. That's why the Chamber is leading an initiative called Growing Something Brilliant. In recent years, we've witnessed a decline in the local economy, almost twice the level of that experienced elsewhere in the UK. Since the second quarter of 2009, the UK economy declined by 6%. In Northern Ireland, we've experienced closer to 12%. And during that time, we've seen manufacturing in Northern Ireland reduced by 19%, services by 11%, and worst of all, construction by 41%. And we're still dealing with the issue of access to finance that's put the SMEs in particular, our small businesses at the heart of the economy, under enormous strain. The banks are still rebuilding their capital to meet regulations. And small businesses are frustrated by what they perceive as a lack of willingness to lend. The problem is complex, and it has many layers, and we're a long way from resolution. The Economic Advisory Group's report on access to finance made 13 recommendations recently, and we urge all parties and stakeholders concerned to act quickly so that our viable businesses can consolidate and grow. The EAG recently published its annual report, and one of the pieces of work which the group has commissioned has been in the area of competitiveness, and in particular, looking at how Northern Ireland compares with 144 other countries as a place where it's easy to do business. And this information comes from a World Economic Forum Competitiveness Index, and believe it or not, it actually makes quite interesting reading. So in first place, we have Switzerland. In 145th place, we have Burundi. Anybody feel a trade mission coming on? And in between, we've got Singapore in second place. The UK was 8th, Hong Kong 9th, Republic of Ireland 27th. Northern Ireland, and bear in mind this is a slightly artificial comparison since we are a province, not a country. That has come to a surprise, as some people here. But we were 42nd out of 145, which actually is not such a poor result when you consider we have a very small market size and we've had the exaggerated effects of the economic downturn, the banking meltdown, and this whole NAMA drama for the last 5 or 6 years. So when you analyze the survey which led to these conclusions, there were 5 particular factors which stood out above the rest as potentially the most problematic for doing business in Northern Ireland. And they were, firstly, access to finance. Secondly, inefficient government bureaucracy. Ring any bells? Thirdly, tax rates. Fourth, restrictive labor regulations. And in fifth place, admittedly at a significantly lesser extent, an inadequately educated workforce. Those are our challenges. Now, this index is based on a very extensive survey of business leaders and potential investors. So it is a mixture of perception and limited experience, but as we all know, perceptions shape opinions and they influence decisions. Well, you'll be pleased to hear that in one category at least, we were ranked first out of 145 countries, namely the least potential impact on business from malaria. So, it's true. So I have a new strapline for Invest NI. Come to Northern Ireland and you won't get bitten. At least not by mosquitoes. For a small regional economy, it actually isn't a bad picture. But you know, we can do better. And we need to look at the factors I mentioned and really address them. In some areas, our executive can help, and we need to show them how. And in other areas, they simply need to get out of the way. Back to the point about the corporation tax hiatus. If we do nothing in the meantime, we risk prolonging this flat line, and we will miss the opportunity to help ourselves through working together within the framework of powers already at our disposal. And that's why we want to grow something brilliant. So the Chamber has a series of events planned for this summer, culminating in a Growing Something Brilliant conference to be held in September. And we're going to bring together the business community, the public sector, government, and do something different in a dynamic, interactive environment where ideas can be shared, where inspiration can be found, and from which we can distill practical ideas of self-help that can and will make a difference. We launched our Growing Something Brilliant campaign with the help of London Mayor Boris Johnson at a great event on the 10th of May. And quite simply, this campaign seeks to inspire more businesses to grow through innovation, through export, through persuading each other to lend, to invest, and to take the next positive step. And by growing something brilliant, we can develop our own economy under our own steam, driven by our own ambition, our energy, and our own commitment. Well, a key component of growing something brilliant is having the right skills. And so this lunchtime we are delighted to welcome Minister Stephen Farry, who will share how his department is addressing skills development. And our guest speaker today is the very talented sportsman and entrepreneur, Eddie Irvine, who will share his story when he's interviewed by Stephen Watson. We are also delighted to be joined by Colm O'Neill, CEO of BT in Ireland, our communications partner, and as always, Chamber patrons whose support is much valued: Belfast International Airport, Caterpillar, Danske Bank, Phonacab, Grafton Employment Group, Investec Wealth and Investment, Pinsent Masons, Power NI, TR Logistics, Ulster Bank, the Ulster Business School at the University of Ulster, and Experience. And not forgetting our guests from NYSE Euronext, who have very kindly sponsored our drinks reception. One other little bit of business. I just want to highlight our charity for this year. And our Chamber's charity this year is Age NI. And Age NI works to improve later life for older people, and I know how they feel, in Northern Ireland through its services and support networks. Would you believe a quarter of older people here in Northern Ireland are still living in poverty, and more than half are worrying about their future and loneliness? So please help. Today, you can help Age NI to make a real difference by supporting our raffle. And people have been very generous in the donation of some great prizes. So we have 2 tickets for an event of your choice at the Odyssey in the Electric Island Lounge, plus an overnight stay in the Fitzwilliam Hotel. We have a Formula One karting experience for 10 people at Eddie Irvine Sports, with 3 tickets to see the Killers at Phoenix Park, courtesy of Citybeat, an overnight stay at Malone Lodge in an executive suite, and a star prize courtesy of Etihad Airways, 2 return tickets from Dublin to Abu Dhabi. Very generous. So thanks to all of those companies who've donated those great prizes. You've got envelopes on your tables which will be collected during lunch, and after lunch the draw will be made by Stephen Watson with the help of Dave Walsh and Lisa Hammond from Etihad just before we close. So it's a fantastic cause. Please be generous as you can. It just remains for me now to introduce our major sponsor for the event today, Colm O'Neill, Chief Executive Officer of BT in Ireland. Thank you.